We never do this, but this event was so good that we wanted to make it available on the podcast for any of you who missed the live event. What you're going to see in this recording is three professional astrologers breaking down what eclipses are, why they matter, and how to read what they mean for you personally based on your astrological chart. I hope you love it. Sit back and enjoy. Bringing the astrologers on screen, let's get going. Today we have master astrologer and teacher Rick Levine, who will also be our inner circle teacher in September for the Virgo lunation. We have Leslie Tagorda, business astrologer and entrepreneur, who will be our inner circle teacher in April for the Aries lunation. She's teaching an epic class on Chiron that you'll get access to if you join the membership. And sky-based evolutionary astrologer Andrea Michelle, who will be our inner circle teacher, bringing us to the end of the calendar year with the December Sagittarius lunar cycle. Rick's going to start us off with a technical overview of eclipses. Andrea's going to teach us about the north and south nodes. Leslie's going to teach you how to integrate and locate eclipses in your chart and begin to interpret what their placement means. Rick's going to give some demonstrations of these techniques, and I'm going to leave you with some soul work so you can continue the learning long after this event is over. All right, so here we go. Rick, bringing it over to you. We can go ahead and share your slide deck, and let's get this party started. Uh-oh, you're muted. And I bet you just said something awesome. Can you say it again?
Yeah, I said I'm all for starting parties.
Yes, we know that.
I'm the token Aries of the group,
Yes.
and I'd just like to start by thanking you, Amanda, and all of the helpers behind that are just extraordinary at what you guys do. Just bringing this amount of information together for people on a journey like this is so cool. I mean, I'm jealous because when I started doing astrology back when there wasn't electricity. Oh no, I guess we did have electricity. But there was nothing like this. And to be able to go on these kinds of journeys, and whether it's here or through the inner circle, I'm looking forward to being a guide again this year. It's just extraordinary, and thank you so much. Thank you for
Oh my
that,
God. It's
and
our
for including me. And yeah.
Oh my God.
Uh,
Well, we love you and we love doing it. So thank you for that, Rick.
and these are, I know people hear this all the time, but these are extraordinary times. I mean, they're really extraordinary times. And it's just so important to stay in touch with what's going on, because it's so easy to get lost in the craziness and the hecticness of what's going on day by day. And since you had just a bit of personal disclosure, Amanda, I think that a lot of people who have done work with me before know that I've been accused of owning, or at least renting or carrying over the legal limit of planets in Aries. And today, with the sun at 9 degrees of Aries, my Mercury is at 9 degrees of Aries. And in fact, my Venus is at 12, and my Mars is at 12, my Venus is at 13, my Sun is at 16, my birthday is April 6th, which means that this upcoming eclipse is really, and I'm say this in a non-possessive manner, it's mine. I mean, it's conjunct my sun, and so these are just like you, Amanda. It's just been an incredible rock and roll period. So it's cool to be involved in this group at this time. And with no further ado, let's get into the material. I have a lot of material to cover, and it's going to be kind of an interesting dance because it probably won't be what you expect, which is always my goal when delivering information. I'm going to try to shift our thinking about eclipses, and although the title of my little presentation is a technical overview, which it really is, I'm going to leave most of the interpretation and the analysis and how we work with all these for the latter part of it. But I just want to begin by acknowledging the power of eclipses. And quite frankly, eclipses today aren't what they were 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 years ago, because eclipses have always um, prompted such a fear response. Because even in history, we watched the rhythms of the sky, and we watched the moon going from new moon to full moon, and when an eclipse occurred, everything was disrupted. And so eclipses have, by nature, in traditional astrology, a deep level of fear and uncertainty associated with them. But we moderners know better. There's nothing unusual about eclipses other than they don't happen every month. And yet they have a rhythm and a hum of their own that is not dangerous. This idea of fear around eclipses, I think oftentimes it's the fear of the fall that actually seals our fate. And it's the fear of an event that actually has that persist. So I think that it's important to keep that in mind. Next slide. And yet it's also important to understand that since the early 1900s, as with microscopes, electron scanning microscopes, as scientists began to look at the very, very tiny, the microcosm, they had to confront some facts that the cause and effect universe that we thought we lived in was not really the universe we lived in. That at the subatomic level, Einstein and other of the early quantum explorers or microcosmic subatomic explorers discovered that light actually travels as a wave, but when we measure it, for the moment that we measure it, it pops into a particle. And yet, when we don't look at it, it continues to travel as a wave. Now, this is really important to understand eclipses, because planets, like photons, are particles when we look at them. When you see a moon, when you observe an eclipse, you're seeing the sun and the moon, and they're like particles. I call them BFPs, big effing particles, but they're particles. And yet, when we're not looking at the moon, it's still traveling like a wave. The moon travels a wave or 13 waves a year, and Saturn travels at about 3 waves a century, and Pluto travels at about 4 waves a millennium. But the point here is that if we truly believe in the Emerald Tablet, as above, so below, the inside and the outside are not causal in relationship to each other. The inside, the subatomic realms, the microcosm, and the cosmos, the macrocosm, are one and the same. And this is intrinsic to our understanding of eclipses. So the real question that I want to begin with is why are we, or questions is why are we so fascinated with eclipses, and how do they connect particle and wave? And for that matter, they actually are a portal or an entryway, a doorway to connecting space and time. Eclipses are kind of like the corpus callosum in the brain, which connects the right hand, left brain, the yang, and the left hand, right brain, the yin. That astrology and eclipses in particular actually connect space and time, yang and yin. And and it's absolutely critical to understand what nodes are, or we do not have any ability to understand what eclipses are. And like I said earlier, I'm going to leave the interpretation of this for later on. I just want to make sure that we understand what we're stepping into. So I want to go back to Pythagoras. Pythagoras, who was born on the Greek island of Samos, lived about 500 years before the Common Era, before about 570 to maybe 490 BC, in that period of time. And Pythagoras is known for a number of things, and I'd love to spend a lot of time talking about Pythagoras, but not today. But one of the things that Pythagoras said is, and we just lost that slide, but that's okay, is all is number. And this is so critical to understanding eclipses. Now we can go to the next slide, because Pythagoras wrote, "There is geometry in the humming of the strings. There is music in the spacing of the spheres." Now, he didn't realize it, or maybe he did, but what he did right here is he actually predicted the particle wave duality, that light travels like a wave, but when we measure it as a particle. And by the same token, what he's doing is making a connection between the physical appearance of the planets, the geometry, and the hum, the music. Now, we don't hear the music of the spheres, but in fact, it's very, very low, low, low frequency, like electromagnetic hum that we just don't even measure. And so Pythagoras made that connection between the geo positions, the geography of the solar system, and the vibrations, particle and wave. Next slide. He also wrote that each celestial body, in fact, each and every atom, the above and the below, produces a particular sound on account of its movement, its rhythm, or its vibration. Movement, rhythm, vibration. Hold those thoughts. All these sounds and vibrations form a universal harmony in which each element, while having its own function and character, contributes to the whole. This is why eclipses are so important, because they actually are a synthesis of space and time, of the hum, of the vibration, and yet the actual physical event itself. Nikola Tesla, who is certainly someone who's in fashion these days for a number of reasons, wrote one of my favorite quotes. Many of you know that I'm a incurable quoteaholic. Tesla wrote, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Again, we're moving away from the idea of there is a total eclipse on April 8th. We'll look at that chart, of course, but we're trying to see it as part of a larger hum, because that's where the magic is. Buckminster Fuller, who I could also talk about for hours, and I'm only going to talk about for about 20 seconds, who gave us what's in the background of this slide that we're looking at. That's the geodesic dome, the Fuller dome. And for those of you who know, the greatest advancement, or one of the great advancements in the 20th century in organic chemistry, has been the discovery of spherical carbon-60, which is shaped according to Buckminster Fuller's geodesic domes. Bucky Fuller wrote, "The comprehensive fact, however, is that nothing in universe," and he always wrote universe with a capital U and no the or that nothing in universe touches anything else. There are no solids. In fact, there are, in fact, no things. I like to say that the universe consists of no things. There is no thing in the universe. Everything is vibration. In fact, in another place in his writing, Fuller wrote, "Universe consists of frequency and angle." And I love that, because that's what astrology is all about. Planets are frequency. They're low frequency, but they're frequency, and aspects are angles. And there, Bucky Fuller says it all. Next slide. Now, this brings us full circle and back to eclipses, because eclipses occur when a lunation occurs at a node. Now, in order to talk about this now, we need to talk about the nodes. Node is actually from a Latin word nodus, which means a knot or a lump. A node is actually a place where energy is tied up into a knot, like a cancer node is a lump in the body. In electronics, a node is what happens, is how an antenna is tuned. High frequency waves have nodes, and nodes are points where high frequency waves intersect with each other. And in fact, everything that we think is solid, if I hit my desk, there's nothing solid there. Those are high frequency electromagnetic waves intersecting with each other at nodal points that give the illusion of solidity. And a node is where a wave manifests as a particle. The entire three-dimensional world, next slide, please. The entire three-dimensional world is an illusion. Einstein said reality is an illusion, albeit a quite persistent one. And a node is created when two waves intersect. And this is what happens when the wave of the moon around the Earth intersects with the wave of the Earth around the sun. And in fact, this nodal intersection is what Hindus call Maya. Maya is the Hindu term for the veil that hides true reality. Everything that we see that's this three-dimensional light, this play of the real world, is really created by nodes, vibrations intersecting with each other. Next slide. So eclipses occur in pairs, and sometimes there's a third one in a pair, but each pair, in each pair, there's two nodes, there's two eclipses that are a fortnight or 2 weeks apart. And these eclipse seasons of a solar and lunar, or a lunar and solar, that's a new moon, full moon, or a full moon, new moon, that they occur twice a year. Next slide. So the moon actually connects with the nodal axis every other week, but there's only an eclipse when the new moon or full moon occurs near the lunar node. And when I use the word node here, I'm talking about the lunar node. Every planet has a node. Every wave intersects with another wave at the nodes. But for lunar eclipses, when a full moon occurs within about 11.5 degrees of either the north or south node, we see it as an eclipse. With a solar eclipse, when there's a new moon within about 17.5 degrees of either north node or south node, that's an eclipse. Next slide. So here we're just going to run through a handful of slides really, really quickly, just to see how these are all the eclipses starting in late November, because there was a full moon eclipse, a lunar eclipse, in November of 2022 at 16 degrees of Taurus on the Taurus-Scorpio axis. But all I want you to see is how the nodal axis rotates, or actually revolves, backwards. Next slide. So here we can see it moving back from 16 degrees to 4 degrees of Scorpio Taurus. But this is actually, this was the first total eclipse in Aries, because the eclipse doesn't occur exactly in line with the nodes. It has to occur within, 12 to 15 or so degrees. Next slide. Now we go back to eclipses in the Taurus-Scorpio axis. This is the full moon eclipse in Scorpio in May of 2023. Next slide. We can see how it keeps moving backwards. Now the nodes have moved from Taurus-Scorpio back into Aries-Libra, which they are still now. The nodes spend about 18 months or so in each sign. And so the first solar eclipse was in Libra, with the moon's nodes in Libra Aries. Next slide. Can you see how this keeps? Oh, thank you.
Mr. R, we're at 1 minute.
Perfect. So we can see how this is still going backwards. Here we get another eclipse in Scorpio Taurus, but the nodes are still in the Aries Libra. And now we're going to go back one more, and this is the lunar eclipse that we just had in Aries Libra, with the node still in Aries Libra. Back one more. And this is the upcoming eclipse, still in Aries Libra. Back one more. And now we can see we have an eclipse in September, the first of the fall eclipses in Pisces Virgo. Back one more. And that brings us to the end of these slides. But I want to now, but you can see how it keeps shifting backwards. Now, next slide, please. Oh, we had one more. Sorry about it. One more slide. Next slide. Next slide. We're still going backwards. Okay. So this is the eclipse path for the upcoming eclipse. And here I'm just going to spend a moment, because what happens is that eclipses repeat on a cycle called the Saros cycle. The Saros cycle is it's actually 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours long. And you can see the path of this eclipse. The previous eclipse, next slide, that was going across the United States was in August of 2017. Let's go back. Let's go to the next slide. Now, I want to go back and forth between these two slides. Can you see how these two eclipses, the path is in a different place, but the eclipse is actually following the same path? That's because these are on the same Saros cycle. These two, next slide. And you can see here that these two cycles, or these two eclipses, are in fact 6,585.3 days apart. That's a Saros cycle of 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours. And in fact, I was at this eclipse in England, and also here in Oregon. So the idea that eclipses repeat, again, I'm just trying to shift our thinking into this larger spectrum of eclipses are in a flow. And from that standpoint, whenever we have a new moon or a full moon that aligns with the nodes, that's when an eclipse occurs. And that ends the first part of my thoughts today.
Oh, you kicked us off so brilliantly, Rick. Thank you. Rick will be doing the chart reading demonstrations at the end. So you get more Rick. And we're going to go now to Andrea Michelle, who is going to talk to us more about the nodes. Okay. All right. Love seeing your comments in the chat. Keep the I am statements coming. It's brilliant. Andrea Michelle, there you are. Perfect.
Here I am. Thank you so much, Rick, for that beautiful opening and very comprehensive take on the nodes. I'm going to be repeating a little bit of what Rick says, but mine is going to be somewhat condensed, and maybe some of the things I say might be a little different, but in the same vein of what Rick just shared. So I am going to speak a little bit about what are the north and south nodes. Now, again, Rick kind of covered some of this already. But essentially, the lunar nodes are where the moon's orbit intersects with the sun's path, which is the ecliptic, which is how we view the path of the sun in our sky. They represent an alchemical potential rather than a predetermined outcome. As Rick said, nodes are where the wave becomes a particle, and there's no guarantee. It's all a matter of choice, intention, and embodiment, and how much we are available to make this potential happen. So if our moon equals our human ego's capacity for growth, development, change, as we see the moon from new moon culminating at full moon and then coming back to the next full moon, new moon, we see that development literally in the phases of the moon in the sky. If we consider that to be the moon, in contrast to the sun, which is our spiritual nature, our vital, already awakened state, then the relationship of the two is a dance of having our self-identity, moon, become increasingly infused and aligned with and operate on behalf of our spiritual essence, gifts, and life force. Thank you, Laura. You can move to the next one. Okay, so what are the north and south nodes? We have the south node as the descending node. So you'll see in the graphic here on the right-hand side, in the orbit of the moon where it intersects with the ecliptic plane, when the moon is moving back down on its orbit, seemingly to go underneath as it crosses the ecliptic, that's the south node, okay? So the ascending node is the opposite. It's when the moon is heading up and breaching the ecliptic plane. That's an emergence into something. Hence the idea that the north node is something new and that the descending node and the south node is something already known, already established, right? So again, the south node sign represents the known, the comfortable, the safe, what we might be good at already, a default. There's something of an inertia present and an unconscious need for things to remain the same for safety, or what we perceive to be safety. The north node sign represents the future self, or where we are looking to engage in more or new experiences in order to balance the spectrum of the nodes. So the sign energies of the nodes are always opposite each other, as we've already established. and are distinct expressions of one essence. So as Buckminster Fuller, as Rick was showing, universe is one thing in a sense, and yet we are all fractals of this one thing. So if we're looking at Aries and Libra, they are made of the same essence, but they are different manifestations and representations of them. Okay. So the difference between north and south node eclipses. The south node eclipses occur, as Rick was saying, when the full moon or the new moon are on or close to the transiting node. So a lunar eclipse or the full moon with the south node, like we had on March 25th, might show us the truth that our work is never finished at any time, yet especially in the area of life indicated by the sign of the south node specifically. Now, there's a little bit of a humbling that is involved in this, because if we consider now, depending on whether it's an annual, a prenumbral, or a total eclipse, the moon will be darkened by degrees. But if we consider that normally at a full moon, we see the very, very full light of the full moon, and we can see it coming to a culmination. We don't ever get to see that really at a lunar eclipse because the moon is darkened. So there's a sense of vastness of who we are that opens up, and it shakes us out of a sense of a notion of linear time, right? So it humbles us to appreciate the cyclical nature of life, of time as more of a spiral than a unidirectional or hierarchical coming into an achievement of something. So we come to the center for balance. The earth is in between the sun and the moon at a lunar eclipse. So coming into our center is where we find the balance, where we are both particle and wave. This is a potential for eclipses, okay? Oh, sorry, Laura, can you go back? The solar eclipse, thank you, which is a new moon, is when the solar eclipse with the new moon is on the south node. It is asking to bring forth a new iteration of an old story. So it's asking us to bring more coherence to something from the past and break free of an old safety pattern or patterns that are keeping us playing small. Okay. Of course, we could spend so much more time on this, but for the sake of the brevity of our presentation, that's it for now. So next slide. Thank you, Laura. Okay, so north node eclipses, as opposed to the south node eclipses, occur when the moon or the sun and moon are on or close to the transiting north node. So a lunar eclipse, which is a full moon with the north node, makes room for us to broaden our self-definitions, highlighting any fears of stepping into bigger, fuller shoes, okay? And it reminds us that we're not just here for ourselves. So if we consider that a lunar eclipse, again, is like a full moon, it's the end of the development of the ego from inception to opposition, right? It's a necessary building of a healthy ego structure that's coming to an end, in a sense, okay? So it reminds us, we're at the precipice of a full moon of moving from an I, me, want, mine space to an us, we, them space. So it reminds us that we're not just here for ourselves, that our development, our personal evolution is inherently, endogenously, a part and parcel of the evolution of our species and the potential of our species itself, okay? So the north node eclipses, a solar eclipse, which is a new moon with the north node, which is the one that will occur on April 8th, and especially a total solar eclipse, is like a seeding or a potential, which may not be recognizable or applicable in 3D for quite some time. Okay? So the north node already indicates a future potential. In the case of this one, an Aries north node is even more a start, a beginning, a seeding of something. And again, the more total the eclipse, the more this is so. It's almost like, and as ASTROLOGY, I love that she pointed out that there is not going to be another Aries eclipse here. Next time we have a solar eclipse, it's going to be already we're going to be moving into Pisces and Virgo. So this is a really condensed, consolidated moment here. So it's seeding, but as long as we allow ourselves the space to not future project North Node into what's going to be, the outcome is going to be, will be way more available for how this future outcome can show up, more readily available to meet it from our center, from our hearts, from more of our being, recognizing that it might take some time and that for it to manifest in 3D, but we can just tend the space. Our practice is to tend the space of our hearts, of our being, of our bodies, to be receptive to those seeds. Okay. And then lastly, just a note that not all eclipses will occur in the same sign as the nodes, but that's for another time. But that's just something I wanted to make a point of here. So that completes my portion of
Brilliant.
station.
You know, I love it, Andrea Michelle. People are commenting how easy you're making this, both you and Rick so far, for people to understand, because there's all these, North Node is about calling in and South Node is about letting go. But why? Why? And once you understand the why and you have a visual, you're not going to forget it. And you're not going to go, trying to rifle through a textbook to get the answer, because you understand it, right?
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We are going to go to Leslie now. And Leslie is going to begin the conversation of how to find and interpret eclipses in the chart. So Leslie, we're going to do the first part of yours, then I'm going to do a little part, and then we'll go back to you. Okay. Sound good? So, I guess I'll just ask Laura where that breaking point is, where it makes sense to do that. So perfect.
Got it. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks,
Thanks, Amanda. Oh my goodness, such big shoes to fill after Rick and Andrea, and just absolutely learning so much more. Thank you, Andrea, for that beautiful graphic, because to visualize that ascending node and that descending node is absolutely incredible. So as Rick was saying, like we are here as vibrations, and the frequencies of those vibrations are like how they meet at those nodes. And so we can think of these eclipses as us tuning in to how we are supposed to be that fractal and express the universe, or maybe there's no the as Rick has informed us. And so today I want to bring in that eclipse energy so that you can easily find it on your natal chart, and then start to interpret it, start to hear what this eclipse wants you to be, wants you to jump into. So even though things can get kind of confusing, and if you're new to astrology and new to interpretation, I want to give you some really easy and practical ways to hear what your natal chart is asking of you, and to narrow down your choices so that you can focus in on what's the most important, and to really honor your own intuition. Now, these eclipses have been really big for me as well. Like as Rick was saying, all of his Aries energy is getting eclipsed right now. And for me, my Chiron is being eclipsed, and I'll be teaching about the Chiron mastery classes, as well as that Pluto. My Pluto in Libra has been eclipsed, and this has been bringing up so much of the unseen, bringing up so much in the ways of like, I've been still operating in fears, and how I'm really ready to release these. And so as you're also building out your compost boards, I hope you're being able to go deep and see the unseen, and really compost all those things that you don't need as you step into your next level of being. Next slide, please. So just a little bit of a review and kind of my perspective of how I see the lunar eclipses and the solar eclipses. Of course, Andrea adding in that extra layer of the South Node and the North Node that she already did. But how I look at the lunar eclipses, regardless of whether they're a South Node or a North Node eclipse, is that we are able to see the unseen. If a full moon is about illuminating and getting emotional clarity, a lunar eclipse, because the moon is in the shadow of the earth, is like that X-ray vision, where you can see in the deepest deepest crevices where maybe you didn't have that light or that ability to see. Now, all of a sudden, you can see it so that you can reveal and determine whether you need to release or recognize and celebrate these parts of yourself. And so with that last Libra eclipse, recognizing all the ways that maybe and celebrating all the ways that you are a true collaborator, but also maybe releasing all the ways that you fall into modes of people pleasing. And then when we think about those solar eclipses, of course, the solar eclipses are like the new moons turbocharged. And this is asking us now to step and leap and jump into that unknown. And to jump into the unknown requires faith, where faith is believing in a possibility or something that's beyond you. Trust is taking action on that faith and that belief. And then that quantum being, meaning you can be all of those I am statements that are going through, you can be exactly who you want to be right here and now without having to first get that degree, firstly, like run that marathon, first lose that 20 pounds, whatever it is. You are, I am. That is that quantum being that the solar eclipses ask us to take that leap of faith into with trust and comfort in our body. Next slide, please. And so just this is the visual of how I see linear versus quantum growth. And so, of course, Saturn, linear growth, step by step, there's an existing path. I will track track all of my growth and my potential, boop, 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 boop. But then when we have an eclipse, that quantum growth where are we a particle? Are we an energy? Like, what are we? You can't see this here, but this is that's that wormhole. It's like we go in one area, the rocket blasts off, and all of a sudden we are here without having to take all of those steps, simply because we had faith, simply because we have trust, simply because we have intended where we want to land exactly as Amanda was saying at the very beginning with our rocket ship. Next slide. So how do we know what we are supposed to be, jump into, release? Your natal chart has the clues. And so when I'm advising people to start interpreting, I really want people to find their own language of astrology. I really want you to be able to trust your intuition. We have wonderful guides here to navigate your way, but I'm not the expert of your life. You are the expert of your life. And so I want you to learn how to use your natal chart to be able to open up to what is supposed to be seen and what you are meant to jump into. And so finding an eclipse is similar to finding a new moon, finding any transit on your chart. You first need to know the sign and the degree of the eclipse. Of course, when you're looking through your natal chart, remember that the chart goes in a counterclockwise motion. So you find that sign and that degree, then you're going to find the house which is being activated, like which house contains that sign and the degree. And of course, with a lunar eclipse, there's going to be two houses on polar opposites, and I'll go into that in a little bit of detail. And then if you're extra, and if you're not extra, don't worry about it. If this gets to be too much, you can take it or leave it. But you want to then know if you have any planets or angles that are at near those points of those eclipses by conjunction, by opposition, or even by square. Next slide, please. So first of all, I want you to find the eclipse degrees on your chart. I have marked out here our lunar eclipse that happened at Libra of 5 degrees. If you could highlight that, please, Lara. There it goes. It's at the bottom of the chart. And then the Aries, the sun was at Aries of 5 degrees and the moon was at Libra of 5 degrees when we had our lunar eclipse just last week. And then the eclipse that we're moving into is at Aries of 19 degrees. This is my chart. So you can see my chart here. And of course that the lunar eclipse, the full moon, is going to be activating 2 houses where the solar eclipse is going to be activating 1 house. So next slide, please. And so what I like to do after you find those degrees on your natal chart is I like to highlight which houses are being activated. And we'll go into the interpretation later, so don't worry about that right now. But with the lunar eclipses, you're going to have a pair of houses that exist on an axis. And these axes all have their own interpretations and their own archetypal energies that give you more information besides simply just the sign. And that solar, and so that area of your life you're being asked to look at and regulate and reconcile opposing energies in your life. Whereas where the solar eclipse is, that's asking you, this is where you're meant to jump. This is where you're supposed to break through the area of your life that needs a bold move. Next slide, please. So the next thing, after you found your degree, then you found your houses, the next thing that you're going to do is see if you have any natal planets that are being aspected at this time. Focusing on, I like to focus on the conjunctions, oppositions, and squares. Of course, there's trines. Of course, there's a whole harmonic series of aspects, but I like to focus in because we can get really, really overwhelmed. Of course, when we start to do all the harmonic series, everything in your chart is being aspected. Now, choose the orb that you like to work with. I tend to use about 5 degrees for eclipses. Conjunctions are going to be planets or angles that are at those degree points. So you can see for the Aries solar eclipse that we're moving into, as I mentioned, my Chiron is right there. And for that solar eclipse, lunar eclipse that we had last week, my Pluto was right there. And so I tend to look at these planets, and of course I'll share deeper, as processes that are wanting to be re-examined and upgraded. Now, conjunctions are easy to find because they're right on those points. The oppositions will be in the polar opposite, 180 degrees away, in the opposite sign, usually in the opposite sign. Squares are going to be generally in the same modality. So take a look at your chart and just plot these points out for now. And then I think when we come back, we're going to dive into the interpretation. Is that right, Amanda?
Yes, it is. It is. All right. So we are going to be doing a raffle here very soon. We're going to be raffling off 2 free years of the inner circle. But before we do, but you have to be here in order to claim your prize. Okay. So before we do this, I want to take a few minutes to talk about the inner circle membership. Like I said in the beginning, this is the first day of our annual promotional period. So if you've been considering it, thinking about it, now is the time to jump in. So I want to give you the information you need to make an informed choice. Before I go much further, I just wanted to acknowledge the newbies that are here. Learning astrology is like learning an entirely new language. This is why the inner circle is designed the way it's designed. So I'm going to get deeper into that here, but just take a breath, relax. It's okay if you're not getting everything. It's very much about trusting that you're getting what you need and let everything else go for now. Eventually, it'll start to make sense. Okay, so if you have ever thought things like, I'd love to learn astrology, but it's confusing and it takes too much time. Or I would love to feel more connected to myself and those in my life. I'd like to understand myself and others better. And I would love to know what my unique gifts are and what I can do to cultivate them consistently, consciously. If you've thought any of these things, first of all, you are not alone. These were some of the thoughts that compelled me to leave my life in New York City 13 years ago and move to Hawaii to start over and start fresh. One of the first things that I did when I landed on these islands is I was invited to join a new and full moon women's circle. We would gather around a campfire. We would learn about, there would be astrologers there sometimes, and we would learn about the astrological energies of that lunar cycle. Then we would walk with the energies in our life and start to learn astrology while we were living and applying it into our daily reality, using it as a tool for growth and transformation. So these are seeds that are still within the inner circle because I got really excited thinking about how can I recreate this experience for everyone and do it virtually all around the world. So these are the seeds of the inner circle. All right. So There are 4 pillars that the inner circle is based on. Pillar number 1, rhythm with the lunar cycle. Pillar number 2, diverse perspectives. Pillar number 3, personal growth and transformation. And pillar number 4, community. I'm going to go into each one of those in a little bit more detail. So for learning in rhythm with the lunar cycle, what we have discovered, and every astrologer knows, and many of you know already, is that the cosmic curriculum is perfect. Natural rhythm is perfection. It's only because we live out of alignment with that rhythm that we feel so overwhelmed and lost and confused. So this is why we have organized the inner circle to be the structure that all of our events happen on, all of our teaching happens around. It's all based on the lunar cycle. This also enables us to give you digestible, bite-sized amounts each month. You learn, you apply, you integrate. You learn, you apply, you integrate in a spiral through time, month after month, and you will be shocked at one day. You will look back and go, oh my God, I used to not understand anything. And now I understand a lot. Or, wow, now I'm actually reading charts. Oh, wow, now people are asking me to read charts. It's this continual progression. And it's because we're not trying to do it all in 5 weeks. We're not trying to do it all in a weekend workshop. We're sinking into the process of learning and applying it in our lives. Okay. I love getting things like this from our members. We hear them all the time. And it makes my heart so happy that our members, their lives are transforming. This program is transforming their lives. Pillar number 2, learning from diverse perspectives. So what this enables is that you don't get stuck in a rigid one way. Like there is only one way to approach a transit. There's only one way to approach a chart. There are many, many ways. And so you won't get stuck in that trap that we see a lot of astrology students get stuck in, where they learn one way and then they realize there's a bunch of other ways, and it really destabilizes them. It really throws them off. So this enables you to find what resonates for you, understand the validity of the way others practice, expand your toolbox, and find your own way, which is the ultimate goal. We love to use astrology as a tool for personal growth and transformation, just like we're doing through this Eclipse Pathway event. So we do everything we can to support you in taking it out of a completely cerebral headspace and into your body, into your experience, into your life, into your heart, into your soul. So that is one of the main things that we're trying to do. You learn, but then you actually bring it in. Okay. So there's always, in every single event, there is going to be an emphasis on both application and technique. There's going to be an application on both looking at charts and then taking it off the screen, off the flat chart, and into your life. And that is one of the ways that we help you embody it and have your own personal relationship with the astrology. Pillar number 4, learning and community. You get to ask the astrologers your questions in real time. You get to practice the language with your peers, and you get to bounce things off people. It's incredible. It's amazing to do it together. It just is a source of inspiration and upliftment in your life. If you like the community thing, some people like to still just study on their own. Either way, it's great. All right. It appears that what we're doing is working. 86% of our members say learning astrology is easier now more than ever since joining the inner circle. 72% say that it brings more purpose and meaning to their lives, and 81% feel a sense of connection and belonging since joining the inner circle. Yay. All right. I said that we structure it with the lunar cycle. It's kind of like our 5 pathway that we're 5-part pathway we're following with this eclipse pathway to purpose. At the new moon, it's all about awareness and understanding. Members receive a new moon forecast and a mastery class teaching. That's for our expand members. At the crescent moon, we set our intentions based on the astrology. Everyone gathers for a new moon intention setting ceremony. At the first quarter moon, we're starting to apply these things in our life. So we've gotten soul work assignments. We're applying the things in our life. We're going towards our intentions. And we get cosmic pulse updates reminding us of the astrology delivered by text right to your phone, journal prompts, and community support. At the full moon, this is where we're having those aha moments, the illumination. What is standing in the way of me bringing these intentions into form? We have a full moon forecast at that point and intention check-ins for everybody. At the third quarter moon, this is when you're starting to integrate the lessons. You're starting to bring the gems through so that you can carry them into the next lunar cycle. We now have 2 tiers of membership. So our legacy membership is tier 2, Inner Circle Expand. We created a new tier of membership that just launched in January called Grow. Tier 1, which is Grow, is for the astrology lover who wants bite-sized, seamlessly integrated daily wisdom. This is for those of you who are like, whoa, I'm kind of overwhelmed. And or it's for those of you who are short on time or resources to dedicate to your learning right now. So it's quick, bite-sized, integrated. We distill the language for you in easy to understand ways. Okay. Expand is for those of you who are in here going, I am all in. I am an astrologer, or I am good at translating the language. If you're wanting to get fluent in the astrological language and you're ready to commit some time and resources to that, Inner Circle Expand is for you. Okay. So here's what you get. Both levels of membership get the Cosmic Pulse text. Both get new and full moon forecasts, although they're different. The Grow group gets them distilled by me in short little bite-sized amounts. The Expand group gets a technical, about 1 hour training from the astrologer directly. Everyone gets a live new moon ceremony. Everyone gets moon cycle horoscopes, and only Expand gets the technical mastery classes, live Q&A and chart reading example sessions, and a new guiding astrologer each month. We also have bonuses, and many of the bonuses are the same. But I want to point out the premium podcast content. So if you love learning from Christopher Renstrom, he is now a part of our Inner Circle on a weekly basis. You can get premium podcast content from Christopher Renstrom. Both levels get this. And there's going to be other astrologers contributing to that premium podcast content as well. Both groups get a private community. These are some of the mastery classes coming up. We have Leslie teaching on Chiron soon. We have Celeste Brooks on secondary progressions, Christopher Renstrom on quincunxes and sextiles, Astrologgy on chart rulership, Rick on Mercury. This roster is amazing. If you're ready for this kind of stuff, Expand is for you. If you're like, huh, what is she even talking about? Then Grow is the perfect place for you. Here's what's special about joining right now. You can lock in your membership at 45% off the regular price. Inner Circle Grow, the tier 1, is still in founding member price because we just launched it, but this is going away on April 11th. It will go to $31 a month. Right now, you can lock it in for $17 a month. Inner Circle Expand is usually $67 a month, and right now through April 11th, it's $37 a month. With both of those tiers of membership, you can get a free month when you sign up for the annual option. And like I said in the beginning, if you decide to join right now before this broadcast ends and you join Expand, you will also get that 6-week Eclipse Mastery training. As you can see, there's a lot to eclipses. If you want to go deeper and further and wider, you get to learn from these amazing legends in the realm of astrology, especially when it comes to eclipses. But you have to join before we're done with this panel. Here's how it works. Go to astrologyhub.com/join now. Once you do that, choose the tier of membership that you would like to start with. If you start with Expand and go, maybe a little too advanced for me, and you want to go down to Grow, you can do that. Or vice versa. If you join Grow and go, I'm ready to graduate, I'd like to go to Expand, you can do that seamlessly between each levels of membership. And if you lock in this promotional pricing, you will lock in the promotional price of either one of those groups when you decide to go back and forth. Then fill out your information. And finally, time to celebrate. You're an Inner Circle member. We're so excited to welcome you. You'll go on over to your inbox and get the welcome email from us that has all the next steps. Our Inner Circle members, there's some that have been with us for 7 years. We've been able to refine this program over time. People are loving the program. We would love to welcome you in. Join us now, astrologyhub.com/join now. All right. Next, we are going to go to our raffle. Okay, I'm going to stop share. Okay, let me see here. I need to go somewhere else to get the raffle. Okay, sorry, everybody. Hold on. I know I can do it. Escape. There we go. Fantastic. Okay, so the winners of the raffle. Okay, we have the first winner here. So again, you have to be here to claim your prize. So the first winner, drum roll please, is Elisa Austin. Elisa Austin, welcome to the Inner Circle. You're going to be in our Expand group. We are so grateful that you're here. And if it's too advanced for you, you can always choose to join Grow. So either one is open for you, but we're sort of defaulting you to Expand. Okay. And then I'm going to announce our second winner, which is Elin Antonsen. Elin Antonsen, welcome to the Inner Circle. We're so happy that you are here. Okay, so next we're going to continue with Leslie. And Leslie, why don't you go ahead and Laura, if you can share the slides again, we'll go back to Leslie and we're going to continue going into our charts, and then we'll go to Rick with the chart reading demonstrations. All right, and then we'll announce our third winner. So stick around.
All right. Thank you, Amanda. Well, we are back. And I absolutely hear, from like, there's such a wide range of fluency of astrology here right now, from the beginners who are just getting into it to people who are already professional astrologers wanting to dig in more. So I'm going to do my best to help you learn how to interpret the eclipses in your chart. And here, I always think about the planets as they're aspecting, as we have the different lunations, as we have transits that are pinging our natal chart. I like to hear these planets asking us questions. There's an energy that is available to us, and the stars are saying, what are you going to do with this energy? Don't let it pass you by. And so I'm going to start from like really easy introductory basics. So even if you don't know how to read your chart, you're still going to get something. And then I'm going to dive into things that get a little bit more complicated. So hopefully you'll learn something new wherever you're at. Ooh, these are pretty. So the first thing, and this is like the basics, to start interpreting. I love this idea of like hearing and then applying, because I also want us to be living the astrology, not just keeping it up here in our mind, but really moving it into our body so that we can take aligned, inspired action. So the first things first, if we remember that the solar eclipses want us to take a leap of faith forward into our quantum being, and the lunar eclipses want us to see the unseen so that we can recognize and celebrate or release and let go, then we can just go simply by the themes. So we had that Libra eclipse, this lunar eclipse, which was about recognizing and letting go. So here we can see in Libra, we're looking at what we need to recognize in relationships and commitments, partnerships, collaborations. If you own a business, this is also about your soul customers. And then as we move into our Aries solar eclipse, our last Aries solar eclipse of several of, I guess, is this the second or third? I can't remember off the top of my head, but this is your final call. Like, get on that train, get on that rocket ship to take your leap of faith into Aries. Leadership, being, independent, trailblazing, identity. Who do you want to be at this time? And so you'll get these slides. You don't have to copy or anything like that. When you get these slides, you can refer back to this, but at the very basics, go by that general theme. You don't even need to know how to read your natal chart. Next slide. Now, if you know how to read the houses on your natal chart, then this is your next step. So each of the houses represent an area of your life, and I do business and brand astrology, so an area of your business where in a solar eclipse, you're asking to break through, take a quantum leap. With your lunar eclipses, there's going to be two houses on an axis that are going to be illuminated, which means that you are being asked to see through deep examination and eliminate things on that axis that hold you back from either of those signs, energies. So let's dive in a little bit deeper with this. So I'm not going to go through the definitions of all of the houses, but again, you'll get these slides so that you can come back to this. And I've included both a traditional perspective as well as a leadership, business, and work perspective. And so first house, of course, if you have Aries on the first house, or the upcoming solar eclipse is in that first house, of course, you're jumping into who you're going to be, your sense of self, your own leadership. If that eclipse is happening in your second house, this is about your values, how you feel about your own worthiness, and what you need to jump into in terms of, I saw a lot of I am rich, I am prosperous, I am abundant. If this is you, that is definitely a part of your life you're supposed to break into. For your third house, you're supposed to jump into more about your voice and speaking up and not silencing yourself. Next. The fourth, of course, family, emotional security. The fifth, about your joy and your passions. Maybe you want a family of children, or even thinking about your projects as your passion projects, as your offspring. The sixth house, your wellness and how you take care of yourself through your daily routines. If you have a business, this is operations. Next. Seventh house, partnerships. Eighth house, deep transformation, where you are doing that phoenix rising. You can't recognize yourself from the last, and it's about power. Ninth house, of course, about exploring your boundaries. Next time. 10th house, your life in public and how you are delivering on your ultimate mission. 11th house, hopes, dreams, your larger communities and the social impact that you want to make. And lastly, the 12th house, that reformation of your inner sense of self so that you can bring more ease, more bliss, more flow and creativity into your life. And so this is looking simply just at where does the eclipse land in one of these houses, and it shows you, it directs you where you want to open up into your life, where you're being asked to take those leaps forward. Now, when we look at a solar eclipse, a lunar eclipse, excuse me, remember that we have the sun in one sign and we have the moon in the exact opposite side. And this creates an axis, a polar axis. You can think of an axis as like the heads and tails of the same coin. These two signs are linked together in that yin and yang kind of energy. And so when we have a lunar eclipse, the sun is going to be in one house and the moon is going to be in the opposite house. Remember that this is the area of your life, these axes of where you're recognizing to celebrate or recognizing to deeply release. If you have that first and seventh house axes being lit up by a lunar eclipse, then you're digging deep in your axis of relationship. How do you present yourself in relationship? Do you give your power away in relationship? Do you people please? All of those things. Next slide. If it's second, eighth house, this is your money. This is the axis of resources, the money in your bank, the money in your partners or your client's bank, our resource of what's mine and what's ours. Next slide. The third house is the axis of knowledge. Your ideas, your info, your information, or shared ideals. And so when we have things that are being activated in a lunar eclipse in the third and the ninth house, you're really taking note of the stories or the limiting beliefs that need to come into recognition. How do you silence yourself, or how do you not believe in possibilities that are available to you? In the fourth and 10th house, if you have these lunar eclipses in these two houses, these two are intricately, I like to call them the root to rise, because fourth house is about family and ancestry, but fourth house is about also creating our roots of our own emotional security. That if you've ever practiced yoga, you might hear a yoga teacher always saying root to rise. The deeper that you can root, the higher that you can rise in your public success. And so I had these being activated, and gosh, so much was revealed to me. Now, if you have it in your 5th and your 11th house for this lunar eclipse, this is on the axis of creativity, play versus impact. Who do you play with versus who are your groups of friends? What are your dreams? What are your passions? And so if this is for you, how are you meant to create an impact, and who are your communities and your friends that you're supposed to surround yourself with? Next. And lastly, we come to the axes of wellness, where the 6th house is our daily routines, the work that we do for service to others. And the 12th house is how we move into flow and make things so much more easy, knowing that we are interconnected with spirit. And so if we have the illuminated for our eclipses in this area, this is how you recognizing how you might be overworking yourself and maybe making yourself a little bit ill. Okay, now we get a little bit deeper. So if this gets a little bit confusing for you, it is absolutely okay. Do not judge yourself. We are all at different levels in our fluency with astrology. This, I mentioned earlier that I see each of the planets as a process. Every planet has the ability to transform, meaning it changes from one thing to the next. And so I have this, I love to look at astrology both from just an inner awakening, a life and a soul level, but also because I'm a business astrologer, I'm always also looking at how we are presenting ourselves in our outward leadership. So now when you pinpointed those degrees on your chart, and you might have had your sun there or your Mercury there or your rising there. Sun, moon, rising, if you had an eclipse that is right on your sun, moon, and rising, let me just say, you are going through some massive transformations right now. And to really honor that instead of running away from that, because this is that question, who do you want to be? And so take note that if
Okay, so it sounds like we're frozen. Okay, that's not just you. I was wondering if it was just me. Leslie, we are frozen. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear? Yes. Okay, so it is on Leslie's end. All right. Um, hmm. Let me see. Hopefully we can get Leslie back on. Maybe we will want to go a little bit into Rick's next section where he's going to start demonstrating these techniques. While we're kind of regrouping, I'm going to answer a few questions that have already come in about the inner circle. Welcome to everybody who's joined already. Also, I'm going to stay after and answer all of your questions. Like I will hang out with you as long as you have questions. So I'm going to answer a few of those right now. Amy asks, are the classes in Expand Inner Circle group included in the monthly price, or are they at extra cost? All of those mastery classes I put up on the screen are included in the Expand monthly membership price. We sell those as one-off a la cartes for $97, but as part of your $37 membership, you will get access to those mastery classes every single month. Okay. Also, Jasmine is wondering, if I join Expand, is it $37 every month, or does it go up after the first month? When you join during this promotional period, you are locking in your pricing for as long as you stay a member. So if you stay a member for 7 years, it's going to be $37 or $17 for you for as long as you're a member. Okay. Another question came in. If I join for the $17 every month, will I be charged 1 year or for $187? The answer to that is no. When you choose, you're going to choose which tier you want, and you're going to choose whether you want monthly or annual. When you choose monthly, you'll be charged once a month. When you choose annual, you'll be charged once a year. And then this great question, C asks, if I sign up for Grow and it's too much time, can I cancel at any time? Yes, you can cancel your membership at any time. So as long as you choose the monthly membership. If you choose annual, you can cancel before your next annual renewal. If you choose monthly, you can cancel at any time. So yes, there's no contract. It's just you can join, you can try it, you can lock in that promotional pricing, see how it is for you. If you love it, stay. If you don't love it, that's okay. If it's not for you. Okay. Leslie, are you back? Yeah.
Back. I'm sorry
Okay.
about that. My internet just absolutely cut off. It's raining.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Rich is saying, I'm a Grow member now and it renews in July. How do I upgrade to expand? So email us at support@astrologyhub.com and we will get you upgraded. And you can upgrade anytime you want. You don't have to wait. I don't think you have to, you must be an annual. I don't think you have to wait until the end of your annual. Yes. And if you are already a member and you paid annual, you don't need to do anything to continue. So just do nothing. If you want to cancel, that's when you're going to tell us about that. Okay. I think that's it. But so I'm going to, okay. I'm going to stay at the end and answer all these amazing questions. Please keep them coming in. All right. And we'll go through it quickly. So Leslie, go ahead. You have the mic back.
Excuse me for that, everyone. My internet cut out.
Oh, wait, Leslie, one more thing.
Yeah,
Are you all okay with us going over 90 minutes?
I'm okay. Oh my gosh, it is 90 minutes.
Yes. So if everybody, if you're okay in the chat with us going over 90 minutes, you are going to get this recording. So if you have to hop off, you'll have access to the recording within 24 hours. But are you okay with us going over? Because we are expanding. We are growing and expanding. So let me know if everybody's okay. Yes. Okay, fantastic. Keep going. Leslie, go ahead.
Awesome. One of the last questions, there was a bunch of questions, but somebody asked if mine was in the 12th and the 6th house and it's 4 degrees away from the rising. Does this mean that my rising is being activated? Absolutely. And so again, when you're looking at your chart and seeing which planets are being activated, including your angles, like your rising, your midheaven, or your IC, or your descendant, any of those, these are processes that are being asked to be recognized and for an upgrade. So again, you'll get these slides, so I don't have to go through each one of them, but knowing if you have sun, moon, or rising, and you have an eclipse on one of those, this is massive for you. Okay, next slide. So more planets, including Chiron, because, well, I have my Chiron being activated right now, and then midheaven, descendant, and the 4th house, the IC, the Imam Coeli. Okay, so I hope that just this little bit of an overview, you're beginning to hear and trust in your own intuition what these eclipses are asking for you. What parts of your chart are being lit up for further examination by that lunar eclipse that we just passed, that you are then going to put into that compost board of yours to let go and release and to recognize the gifts as well as the challenges. And then what do you want to jump into? Who do you want to be? And your natal chart can help give you some information to focus down all of the opportunities that are waiting for you. Next slide, please. So James Cameron, filmmaker. There are many talented people who haven't fulfilled their dreams because they overthought it, or they were too cautious and were unwilling to make the leap of faith. I do not want that for you. Next slide, please. From one of my child's favorite books, I Wish You More by Amy Krauss Rosenthal. I want you to take your leap, and I wish you more woohoo than whoa.
That is the cutest.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So here we go. All right. So I have made a executive decision. I'm in my bossy Capricorn mode right this minute. Because we said this was going to be 90 minutes, we are going to announce our 3rd raffle winner before the 90 minutes is up, for those of you who budgeted 90 minutes. But I'm also going to throw in another surprise, and we will throw in a 4th winner before the broadcast ends. So after Rick's chart reading section right here, we're going to throw in a fourth winner because why not? Okay, so we're going to announce the next raffle winner. Actually, I probably will just do it right now because I'm sure Rick isn't going to be 5 minutes. Right, Rick? Is that a safe guess? I think you're muted. Okay. All right. Well, I can hear him saying yes. There's no chance I will be 5 minutes. All right.
Correct.
So correct. Okay. The next winner of an annual Expand Inner Circle membership is, drum roll, Anne Ramos. Anne, congratulations. Welcome to the Inner Circle. I also want to welcome everyone else who has decided to jump in and get that Eclipse Mastery Class 6-week course. This also gives you a little bit more time to join the Inner Circle and get that Eclipse Mastery bonus that is eligible for any of you who join Expand while we're on the call. Okay. And remember that Expand members get everything Grow members get, just some extras. So it's not like you don't get the things that Grow likes. So if you love Grow right now, you're not going to lose that. You're just going to gain more as an Expand member. Okay. Mr. Rick Levine, we don't see you. Let's see. There you are. Are you there? There he is. Fantastic. In all of your glory.
Here I am. All right, away we go. So, as far as I'm concerned, I love all the technical stuff. I love the theoretical stuff, but the real magic in astrology is where the proverbial rubber hits the road. It's when you're actually doing chart work. Now, I must say that I'm one of those astrologers who will not do charts by tape or by by tape. I'm dating myself. By recording or by written report without the person present, because to me, it's all about the dialogue. However, I'm going to be looking at 2 charts, and I know both of these people are online in chat, but I definitely feel like I'm speaking into the vacuum of the vacuous universe without having a dialogue here. But whenever we look at a chart, or whenever we look at an eclipse chart, or what an eclipse might be doing, as has been presented here already, I think, really well. I love what Andrea Michelle and Leslie kind of have presented, and in a way, every eclipse is like a transit moment. And so if we're going to look at what an eclipse is doing to someone's chart, we actually need to start with the eclipse chart itself. Next slide. Okay. So here we have a chart for the eclipse. And this is actually located here where I am in Redmond, Washington, but it doesn't matter. It's for Pacific Daylight Time. If you correct to your time zone, there's no horizon in this. So wherever you are on the planet, the actual eclipse itself will be occurring at 19 minutes of Aries and 19 degrees of Aries and 24 minutes. The important thing to note here is that this eclipse at 19 degrees of Aries is closely, tightly, exactly, really conjoined with Chiron at 19 degrees 24 minutes. So in order to see what this eclipse is doing in anyone's chart, we need to talk about Chiron, which could take about a half an hour to an hour just to touch the surface. But I have a problem with people who think that Chiron's last name is the Wounded Healer. Chiron is Chiron, and Chiron's last name is not the Wounded Healer, because we put Chiron into a confinement by doing that. In fact, someone says they can't see the slides. I think that that it should be showing. Yeah.
It's showing. We're good.
Okay. Thank you. The important thing to understand is that Chiron did have a wound like all humans do. As a human, we have a wound, and we live with that wound, that imperfection, through our whole life. But that's not what's critical. What's critical is the fact that with that wound, that becomes a point of which we can learn, we can heal, we can forgive, we can teach. And Chiron was the original mentor. Chiron taught Asclepius and Hercules. And so from that standpoint, this new moon eclipse, this total eclipse in Aries, is really about learning, about teaching, and about forgiveness in Aries, in areas that are new, that are pioneering, that are going into new areas of our life. So the other thing that's significant is that we have a Saturn-Mars conjunction at this eclipse. And this is a little bit about hot, cold, about yes, no, about do it, don't do it. And so there's that built up energy, although the eclipses is pushing us north node into the new territory of Aries. We also have a bit of restraint, and if we don't acknowledge that, we can end up taking things too far, about moving too quickly. And then the other thing that I think is quite significant is that although we might think it's still almost a month away from now, and that is the looming conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus, the fact is that on the eclipse, they're really only 2 degrees apart. It is a conjunction. And that is in Taurus. And so it's emphasizing that need to grow Jupiter in ways that are breaking through Uranus, and yet doing it with consistency and steadiness. That would be the Taurus. So all eclipses are acting like transits in the moment. And if we're looking at what an eclipse does to someone's chart, let's go to the next slide. And here we have Lana, I'm not sure which, Lana's chart. Hi, Lana, I see you in the chat room. We have Lana's chart here in front of us. And I picked these charts for 2 different reasons. One, because Lana's chart is so wired to the eclipse, and the second chart, excuse me, the second chart we'll be looking at is Janna's chart. And so in order to be selected, your name had to end in ANA today, apparently. But Janna's chart doesn't have any planets directly aligned with the eclipse. Now, remember, the eclipse itself is at 19 degrees of Taurus and 19 degrees of Aries and 24 minutes. And here we look at Lana's chart, and her ascendant is at 19 degrees and 22 minutes. That's 2 minutes of arc. That's 1/30th of a degree away from being the exact degree point of the eclipse itself. And on top of that, we have right within that Chiron, the moon, and Mercury. So Lana, we know, is going through a Chiron return, as transiting Chiron is going over her ascendant and approaching her natal moon and approaching her natal Mercury. And of course, we have this in opposition to Uranus right on her descendant. So this chart is actually wired for the eclipse. But when I look at a chart, I have to understand the fact that an eclipse is only going to activate what's already present in the chart. And I'm going to synthesize here. The energy is going to move pretty quickly. Normally, it would take 15, 20 minutes to unfold what I'm going to unfold here in just a moment or two. Next slide. The first thing that I notice in Lana's chart, though, is not the eclipse points, and it's the fact that her Sun and Venus in Taurus, Venus in its domicile, in its home sign of Taurus, joined up with the Sun, being illuminated by the Sun, and the Sun being very closely square Jupiter. So we would assume, and again, if I was talking with Lana, I would have a dialogue about this, but I would assume that even though Lana is a Taurus and someone who is Venusian, maybe oriented towards pleasure, or has that wiring towards the real things. I always think of that Venus and Sun in Taurus as if you take care of the physical senses, everything else will take care of itself. But that square to Jupiter might indicate a tendency towards extravagance or abundance or overdoing. So let's just hold that for a second. Next slide. In the next slide, we notice, obviously, and I already mentioned this, that Uranus is in very tight opposition on the horizon to the Chiron, Mercury, and the moon. And so we would also assume that Lana is a person who either by self or by relationship is going to be unusual or eccentric or break out of the traditions. There's a rebellious nature. Without knowing anything about Lana or having a dialogue with her, I would imagine that if Lana has a hard time with being weird or eccentric or Uranian, then she might project that and attract that in relationships where it's like she gets to be normal and straight and the Taurus and holding her position, and instead then it connects with people outside who act in ways that are more eccentric or erratic than she might be, and that might be a
Rick,
place. Yes.
she is confirming everything you're saying. So
Okay.
she says, love weird, a bit laugh out loud, and yes. So basically everything that you've said, she's given a resounding yes, or a bit with a laugh, or she loves weird. So
Good,
yes, you're right
good,
on.
good. Well, let the jury know that the testimony is the person in the who's giving testimony. The witness is nodding yes. Okay. Anyhow, so here we have that opposition again. This sets up the eclipse, but how does that integrate into her natal chart? And we see that Saturn in the next slide, please, is actually at that point of Thales. It's the point whenever there's an opposition. If there's a planet that's sextile one side, Saturn is sextile the Chiron ascendant, moon, and Mercury, and trine the other side, that she's getting that stability. So Saturn is working to release some of that stress and some of that tension in a way that might be through Gemini realms, through intellect, through reading, through learning, through all those kinds of things. Next slide. On the other side, we have something that stood out to me right away, and that is that the Jupiter and Mars are close enough together that their midpoint is actually at 18 degrees of Aquarius. In other words, halfway between. And every pair of planets, whether they're in traditional aspect or not, hum at a midpoint halfway between as if it was a planet. So that 18 degrees of Aquarius is pulling in that enthusiastic, abundant, kind of overamping Mars Jupiter, and it's actually creating a grand air trine that turns the chart into a kite that is aiming at the Chiron moon Mercury. So we might assume that on some level, and how Lana lives this, I have no idea, but on some level, there's a teacher, a healer, that is using that Saturn learning and discipline to basically encourage others and help them break out of their own boxes, if you will. Next slide, please. And then we add one more piece into this puzzle, and that is the fact that Neptune is a half of a square to Uranus and a square and a half to the Aries side of that opposition, meaning that Neptune is kind of stimulating this opposition and adding that spiritual and or creative lean, but it isn't an easy place to integrate. So all of this is going into my thinking as I now go back to, all right, now let's take what we've just looked at in Lana's chart, and we take the eclipse that's occurring on April 8th, and we just put it right on top of it. Next slide. And now we can see that the eclipse, along with the North Node, the Sun and Moon, and Chiron, are all like right on the ascendant. Man, this eclipse has Lana's name on it. Now, it impacts everyone in different ways, but the fact of the matter is that the eclipse moment itself is wired to how Lana interacts with the outer world. And yeah, we look at both the eclipse chart by itself end as a bi-wheel, a synastry, or as transits in the moment. What is this eclipse doing onto the natal chart? But now remember, we talked about how this is activating the ascendant, descendant, and the Uranus opposition, all those Aries planets. But now let's add in everything else. And now we can see what this eclipse is really doing in Lana's chart. So it's not just activating the ascendant. And in Western astrology, we sometimes say the ascendant is how we appear, our outward manifestation, our, in Jungian terms, our persona or our mask. But the Jyotish, the Hindu Vedic astrology, reminds us that the ascendant isn't just how our inside gets out, it's also how the outside gets in. It's how we're nailed or wired or connected. It's the interface point to the three-dimensional world. And so this eclipse is actually wiring to all of this stuff in Lana's chart. And yes, someone said we need a follow-up on what happens to Lana. It's not what happens, though, because eclipses don't happen to us. It's what we do in our sense of intention. And it's not just making a list and voicing an intention. It's not just making the vision board. It's actually priming the pump. It's creating the ritual. It's what we do in the days and weeks and months and hours that lead up to the eclipse, and what we do during it, and the days and weeks and months afterwards that actually take that wave and manifest it into a particle. If we don't pay attention and we're unconscious, the wave manifests and it washes over us and something happens to us. However, if we are inside that wave with awareness and working outward, then we actually get to surf the wave to co-create the future. So that's
Yes, Rick. Woo!
that's my Lana story. And
Okay,
Lana,
so Lana says she's awake. Lana says this is right on. It makes so much sense. Lana, if you feel comfortable sharing any more about what's happening for you right now, that would be great. We have a lot of people who want to be your friend. A lot of people are like, I need to meet Lana. So amazing.
Yeah, I'm really curious. If this is a conversation, I have 50 questions for Lana, which would then allow me to take this to the next step further, because as an astrologer, I don't know anything about Lana. I only know how to make connections to what's going on in Lana's life to what I'm seeing in the chart. And so I'm curious as to, who she is and what she is and what she does in the world, and what it is that she is teaching or offering others, and how crazy she might be. And I don't use that in the clinical sense. I mean that in the sense of you got to be crazy to get by in this world. That's all I got to say.
Yes. Okay. So if some people are asking about how to have readings with Rick, Rick is extraordinarily challenging to have readings with. So that's why getting chosen for this is kind of like getting the golden ticket in Willy Wonka. But we do have other astrologers that are more available for readings. If you go to astrologyhub.com/connect, you will see some of our astrologers are even giving eclipse special deals right now. So you can, Gemini Brett is, also Cameron Allen, maybe Jamie McGee. I'm not totally sure on that, but go check it out, astrologyhub.com/connect, if you feel like you need a reading to help you right now. Yeah, Rick's waitlist goes for years, pretty much.
Yeah, it does. And, and sometimes the best chance right now of getting a reading is either taking a course or enrolling through Astrology Hub, where I've done a number of online readings, and or my Patreon program, which I'm not going to advertise or talk about now, but there I do ongoing readings to, that are teaching how to read charts as I do. Enough there, though. Let's go on to the next.
Okay, so Phelan Shiva is asking, I'm interested in joining the inner circle. Is there a special link from this series? Yes, astrologyhub.com/join now. Astrologyhub.com/join now. So Rick, we have time for one more.
That's it. All right. So again, I just want to refresh, because we're now going to look at a totally different chart, but I just want to keep in mind always the chart of the moment is the transit. And that works whether it's an eclipse or not, or every new moon in a way, an eclipse is really like a new moon on steroids. A new moon is a beginning. It's a time to plant the seed. And here we're planting the seed in a portal that takes quantum leaps into other times, past, present, future, other dimensions. And so that's why it's so important to make those intentions and to prime the pump and to do the ritual. So here again, we have the eclipse, and we're reminding ourselves that we have the sun and moon and Chiron at 19, roughly 19 and a half degrees of Aries, with even Venus and Mercury in Aries also. And now we're going to go to the next chart, and that is Janna's natal chart. And here we see a totally different chart. And this is chosen because a lot of people want to know, well, what happens if I don't have any planets in Aries near that eclipse? Well, Janna is a Taurus with the sun, Saturn, Mercury, and Venus all in Taurus, and nothing that's really within a degree or two or three or five, depending on how tight your orbs are for eclipses, but nothing right by that 21 degree point, or the 19 degree point, where the actual eclipse itself is. But let's take a look at the chart and see what happens when we take a look at Janna's chart, because we need to start off with that vibration itself. First thing I noticed when Janna's chart is that there's a seesaw pattern, which means that there's planets on two opposite sides of the chart. This is one of Mark Edmund Jones' 7 chart types. And it's a person who often goes back and forth between two ways of seeing things and living, kind of, in that sense of opposites. If we go to the next chart, we can actually see that there's 3 different sets of oppositions here. That we have Mars opposed Neptune. We have Chiron opposed Uranus, which is more generational than anything else. And we also have Jupiter opposing, or the sun opposing Jupiter. But the thing is here is that none of these points are aspected by the eclipse itself. And I think that that is really important. There's one other thing, though, that I want to bring up here, and that is that if we go to the next chart, we actually can see that there is a pattern here, and I'm a fan of any symmetrical chart configurations. Many people know what a grand square is if you have 4 planets all the way around, or a mystic rectangle where you have 2 planets that are sextile, then trine, then sextile, then trine. Here we have a symmetrical rectangle that I call an adjustment rectangle. The Hubers in their chart pattern astrology call this an irritation triangle. It's a semi-sextile quincunx, semi-sextile quincunx going around. And so in a way, this becomes an important piece of Janna's external solidity in that rectangle that makes an external, kind of sense of stability. And yet there's always this annoying, irritating need for adjustment, of having to make adjustments from the inside to the outside. Now, the other piece here that's really significant has to do with another completely different set of planets. And that is the moon, Mercury, and the Cancer rising. And this actually is another pattern that is a square from the moon to the ascendant, a sextile from the ascendant back to Mercury, and a quincunx from Mercury back to the moon. And these are called learning triangles, where they're not symmetrical, and there's something that needs to be adapted to or learned in order to grow. And this becomes totally significant because when we look at the next chart, which is laying the eclipse over it, we can see that the eclipse, the new moon up here in Aries, although it doesn't hit any planet directly by conjunction, it actually ends up making a T-square in opposition to the moon and square to that Cancer rising. And this then becomes how this eclipse is integrated. And yet the moon becomes the translation point, because that moon is so significantly part of the other aspect pattern that we had, that triangle that I mentioned earlier. So this eclipse is not conjoining any planets in Janna's chart, but it's certainly creating a dilemma. And a dilemma is simply two lemmas. A lemma is a statement in a Greek proposition. If I'm proving this, I got to say, well, first this, then that, and then this leads to the next. And you make these steps. And when one step in a Greek proof goes two ways, that's a dilemma, because each step is a lemma. And Janna's dilemma has to do with the fourth house and 10th house. And even though this is a solar eclipse, we're looking at the axis here, because the axis is the moon natally, fourth house, to the moon transiting, that's being eclipsed, or that's eclipsing the sun, 10th house. And so this is a fundamental internal to an external mission that is at odds with that quiet, maybe sometimes passive or receptive, or what's the word I'm looking for? Invisible, the hide, that insecure, sometimes ascendant. And yet this eclipse is a call to action for Janna to actually activate that Libra moon, to look for that balance point. Remember, that balance point is important because we do have the Saturn-Mars conjunction that's going on right now, and that is actually close to her nodal axis. We also look at other transiting points, and we can see how it's not just the location of the eclipsed point itself, the 19 degrees of Aries, but it's how it fits into the chart, how it fits into the other patterns, and also any other planets at that moment and what they're doing activating the chart. So, yeah, and Janna is saying that her current healing mantra is, I no longer consent to being small for the comfort of others. I don't think you could have made that up any better based upon what I was just saying without knowing anything about you, because that Cancer rising tends to be quiet or invisible. I sometimes call the Cancer rising, the Harry Potter, invisibility cloak, or the in the original Star Wars, when they're walking, down into the Death Star, and Obi-Wan Kenobi turns to the Star Trooper and says, "These are not the droids you're looking for," and they don't see him. And so there's this thing about being invisible, and yet this eclipse is basically saying, take that risk and show who you are, even if it means being on both sides of the equation at once. That Libra moon is certainly an important piece, because it ties, even though it's not an easy tie-in, it ties into both the ascendant and that Mercury in Taurus. So, and then the other thing is, and I have this highlighted, I almost forgot, that transiting Jupiter, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, is occurring on Janna's Mercury and Venus conjunction at 19 and 20 and 21 degrees of Taurus. And so that Jupiter and Uranus are right there saying, break through now, go big, open up that portal, step through, and good luck to you. And that basically is all I got.
Amazing. Lana says she is going to share more, or Lana or Janna. Now I'm getting confused. Lana said she's going to share more about what's happening in her life in the inner circle, Rick. So we'll stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and I would invite either of them to send me an email at rlevine@stariq.com. And I'd be glad to have a short conversation with either of them, just to get the other side of the coin. It would help me.
Amazing. Okay. Now, a couple things. We're going to do our fourth surprise winner of an annual membership here in just a second. We're going to take a short break. We're going to do the final fourth raffle winner, the bonus raffle winner. Then I'm going to stay on for any Q&A about the inner circle, any question you have, for as long as we need to answer questions. Rick and I know Andrea Michelle had to go. Rick and Leslie, you don't have to stay for all of this. I know you've already been so generous with your time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You have just served this community so well.
My pleasure. And both Leslie and Andrea Marie, I mean, just extraordinary, the amount of of information. And I tried to integrate what they were saying with generalities into the specifics of the chart. So I hope that was of benefit to everyone.
I think it was.
Thank you, Amanda, and just such an honor to share a Zoom stage with Rick.
Back at you.
Right. And
All right.
soon sharing on our Inner Circle roster. Thank you both for being teachers with us upcoming. Leslie is right around the corner for Aries month. We have to wait a little bit longer for Rick, who's going to be Virgo, right? And then we have to wait a little bit longer than that for Andrea Michelle, who's going to be Sagittarius. But there's incredible astrologers in between all the months. So you're going to love it. Welcome to all the new members. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to do our 4th raffle winner, and then I'm going to answer your Inner Circle questions. So if you have them, throw them in the chat. I will hang out with you as long as we need to. All right.
Awesome. Thank
Thanks,
you, Amanda,
everybody.
and everyone.
Thank you. Mwah. You two are amazing. Every day, people around the globe turn to astrology in hopes of gaining a deeper understanding of themselves, their loved ones, and how to navigate the tricky, complex world around them. Inside, there's a yearning for more, for something better, more purposeful, more easeful, for growth. And yet, most are left lost and overwhelmed by resources that demand too much of their time and energy, or leave them feeling more anxious than calm. Because no matter how much you commit to learning about astrology, you're trying to decipher the world's largest encyclopedia, complete with tiny footnotes, complex terminology and symbols, and dense chapters, each more confusing than the last. And ultimately, aren't you just longing to find peace and fulfillment through it all? Well, working with astrology was never meant to be simple. It's a whole lot easier when you have trusted guides and a consistent, systematic process for navigating the cosmic curriculum. That's where we come in. Welcome to Astrology Hub's Inner Circle, home for curious newbies, devoted students, and anyone looking to use astrology to consciously navigate their path ahead and transform their lives. Every month, we tune into the natural rhythm that the lunar cycle provides and bring our awareness, intention, and actions into alignment with the cosmic choreography. The approach we use makes learning astrology a little less heady and a lot more embodied. And now we have 2 different levels of membership, so your experience can be as personalized to your needs as possible. Our newest level, Inner Circle Grow, is for the astrology lover who wants bite-sized, seamlessly integrated daily wisdom without having to commit a lot of hours or work with complex concepts. I distill the essence of the guiding astrologers, new and full moon, into quick snapshots, and my team of resident astrologers keeps you in the know on the most important aspects of the astrology, so you can stay in tune at a quick glance on a daily basis. Inner Circle Expand is our flagship level of membership, and it's designed for the astrology student who wants to learn the astrological language directly from the masters, while also aligning with the lunar cycle for personal growth. Expand members get everything Grow members receive. Plus, you get to learn from a new astrologer teacher every month, learn chart reading techniques, participate in live Q&A and chart example sessions, and so much more. All levels are invited to participate in new moon intention setting ceremonies that I have the honor of facilitating, and other bonuses designed to support you on your path. The Inner Circle is the place for anyone hungry for meaningful connection. The kind of connection that lets you anticipate subtle shifts in energy and prepare for cosmic changes so you're never caught off guard. The kind of connection that helps you grow, to align with your soul's path, and gives you a deep understanding of who you are and what you're meant to do. You can join our newest level of membership, Inner Circle Grow, for just $17 a month and lock in this limited time founding members price. And for a limited time only, you can join Inner Circle Expand for only $37 a month, a whole 45% off our regular membership rate. Plus, we have exclusive bonuses you can only get when you join during this promotional period. We know that everyone has their own unique path to discovery. So whether you've just started your journey with astrology or you've been following it for many trips around the sun, the Inner Circle will meet you where you're at and give you the tools to get where you want to go next. We may all be different and on our own paths, but we're all under the same sky. And our community is home to thousands of people united in our individuality and shared journey of discovery. Go to astrologyhub.com/IC24 to learn more. I hope you'll join us on the inside. All right, my friends. Okay. So we have a final fourth winner, and then we're hanging out and answering questions. So you have to be here still. The fourth winner is, drum roll, are you here? Layla Asbil. Layla Asbil, are you here? If you're here, you are our final winner of an Inner Circle membership. If she's not, then there's an alternative name that we have. Layla, are you here? Please let us know in the chat. Am I missing it? Okay. Okay. I might have to choose someone else. Am I missing it? Please, team, let me know. Did I miss Layla saying I'm here? It's Layla. Laila. Okay. She was here, Zara. I saw that too. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go to our next winner, who is, again, oh, wait, Layla, you are here? Wait, okay. Oh, I'm so confused. Okay, the next winner is, drumroll, Florence Pellegrino. Florence, you are the winner of an Inner Circle Expand membership. It was meant to be. I saw your name just like a second ago, so I know you're here. And welcome to the Inner Circle. We are so happy to have you. And everyone who has decided to jump in, you still have a few more minutes to jump in to Inner Circle Expand and get that 6-week mastery class on eclipses. This is one of the first courses we did with some of literally the biggest names in astrology, especially as it comes to eclipses. Like Bernadette Brady is a legend. She's written books on eclipses in the Saros cycle. And by some miracle, we were able to have some of these teachers with us for this course. So you have a little bit more time. And it's astrologyhub.com/join now. Okay. So I'm going to answer a few more questions. All right. Chan, you are wondering, as I'm in a different time zone, I would like to know if all the live classes get recordings. The answer to that is a resounding yes. Just like this event, the recordings will be available within 24 hours. They're available in your membership portal where you access all your content, and they're available within 24 hours. And we usually send out an email saying your replay is available. So you will have that. And a lot of our members are in lots of different time zones. We do our best actually to stagger the time of our calls so that more people have opportunity to join live when they can. But I understand sometimes you're just in a time zone, or you have the kind of life where you can't be on live. There are members who I've talked to who have said, I haven't been on one live call, but I still feel so connected to this community. I make it my ritual to tune in within 24 hours. I feel so connected to this Inner Circle community just by tuning into the recording. So those will be available for you. Okay. Lanny, I'm in Inner Circle Grow monthly pay. Can I ramp up to Inner Circle Expand? So Lanny is ready to graduate to Expand. The answer is yes. Email us at support@astrologyhub.com and we will help to facilitate your upgrade to Expand. And it's a great idea to do it right now because you'll get that $37 price for Expand. You'll lock that in and you'll have that as long as you stay a member. Okay. Oh, Diane, I was taught using Placidus system, but you use whole sign. Does that matter? Actually, our astrologers use many different house systems. Our astrologers use many different house systems. Some of them use Placidus. Some of them use whole. Some of them toggle in between depending on the technique. So this is what, when I was talking earlier about flexibility of mind, what you're going to start to understand is that there could be a use case for one house system over the other, depending on A, the technique you're using, or B, the question you're trying to answer. So the astrologers speak to these things every single mastery class. They will tell you what house system they're using and why they're using that house system. I know for certain traditional astrology techniques, the technique was based on, for example, whole sign. So you need to use whole sign in order to do the technique. But you'll see, like you'll get to get in there and hear their explanation of why. It'll help you understand house systems even more and why you may want to use one house system versus another. So it's absolutely that we don't only use whole sign. So that's a long answer to your question. For Diane, Melissa asked, when is the deadline to join? The deadline to join is April 11th. I mean, you can join after that, but the deadline for this promotional period is April 11th. That is also the day that we're doing our Aries new moon ceremony, and we're doing our treasure maps together. So we'll have a little workshop where we're actually doing our treasure mapping or our vision boarding together as part of that Aries new moon. We wanted to give you all an opportunity to get into the inner circle before that event. So if you join now, you'll join us for that. You'll join us for Leslie's month for Aries. You'll get her, if you join Expand, you'll get her Chiron Mastery class. If you join Grow, you'll get the full moon and new moon snapshots, and you'll start getting your Cosmic Pulse text updates right away. Okay. Sandy says, I joined the Inner Circle Expand earlier today. I'm very excited. My question for you, have you considered putting the more experienced astrologers in this group in touch with each other, or check to see if anyone is interested in a working research group through Astrology Hub for the USA's upcoming election, mundane or geopolitical astrology? I'm so happy you asked, Sandy. Our Expand community platform has the capacity to create rooms, like special interest rooms. And so we do have groups of people who meet around certain topics. And there have been other people who are doing astrology research who tap into the group and say, hey, I'm doing some research on this in astrology. Who would like to participate? And so you can direct message any member in the group. You can connect with members based on different interests. So there's a lot of flexibility and really cool aspects to the membership that you can take advantage of as a member. And really, because to me, that's one of the coolest things about the technology that's available to us right now. It's like, wow, we can do things in astrology that just wasn't available at all because the technology wasn't there. And it's going to get even more. But yes, there are lots of opportunities to connect with like-minded people, to find them, to post something and be like, here's what I'm interested in. Is anybody else interested in doing this? And then just start a whole conversation around it. Okay. Jacqueline, is the Eclipse bonus just for Expand membership? So I want to make sure I'm understanding your question correctly. If you're referring to getting access to these recordings from this Eclipse event and all the resources that are a part of this Eclipse event, that's going to be available in your membership long after the deadline. If you're talking about the join now on this call bonus for that 6-week mastery class that is priced at $297, yes, that is just for Expand. So that really is more of a someone who wants to dive deep type bonus anyways. So it is for Expand. So yes. All right. Cindy, do current members have access to the Eclipse class? Let's see. I'm not sure what my team said for that. I believe it's just a bonus for right this second for people who are joining right now, Cindy. Okay. But you do get your 20% discount as an Expand member, if you're an Expand member, to purchase that class if you want. And sometimes we put some of those types of classes, we run specials on them. But yeah. All right. So Johan, I already bought an annual membership for Grow about 2 months ago. If I choose to switch to Expand, how would that work? Johan, I think, hopefully I'm saying that right. You will email us at support@astrologyhub.com and we will facilitate that graduation ceremony for you. Also, we are working on the technology to be able to do that seamlessly. So you'll be able to go by yourself in between the membership, because sometimes we have Expand members who go, man, like I am ready for Expand, but I don't have any time right now. I don't like, I'm doing something big in my life, but I don't want to cancel my membership. So in that case, we say, you know what, just join Grow for a couple months, join it at that lower rate, tune into the things you can. And then when you're ready, when your space opens up again, you can go back to Expand. This is why one of the reasons we've been wanting to create tiers of our membership for a long time. And this is an answer to one of those questions of like, you know, hey, I love this. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. I don't want to lose the promotional price that I'm locked into, but I don't have the capacity to tune in as much as I'd like to right now. So now instead of leaving, you have the option to quote unquote downgrade to the other level membership. Okay. Swati, Amanda, I am new to astrology, but I am interested in interpreting charts. If I join Grow, will I still be able to get started with interpreting charts? Such as I am not sure how to check where the eclipse is falling in my chart. Or should I join Expand? I'm not sure if it will be a lot to grasp for a beginner. Great question, Swati. So Expand is for anyone who's just like you. I mean, honestly, Swati, if you have that desire and that craving in you and you're going, I want to learn, we have resources for you in the Expand group. We have a beginning whole entire chart reading bundle that you get that helps you to start breaking these things down. You get, you're going to get what you need, like as you go through the membership. At first, it might be overwhelming, but we have those resources for you. You're going to take the assessment quiz right when you get into the membership, which is going to then give you the resources and the places to start. So you'll be able to just kind of fast track into exactly where you need to start. What I always say to people like you, be patient, be kind to yourself. Start to tap into that childlike curiosity of learning, and then trust that what you're getting when you're getting it is exactly what you need to get. You will build upon a foundation month after month. More and more will make sense. You will be amazed at, like, one day you'll go, wow, I caught that whole new moon forecast. I caught that whole mastery class. I am starting to speak the language. I often equate it to, it's like going for an English native speaker, going to Japan and then expecting to be fluent in the language. That's an unrealistic expectation, right? But if you stay in Japan and you practice and you start to learn, you are going to learn over time. So as long as you aren't like, I need to learn how to read a chart tomorrow, which anybody who promises that you can do that, that'd be like saying you can learn how to speak Japanese tomorrow, which maybe you're one of those rare people that like can remember Japanese from a past life and it just like clicks in. But for most of us, that's not the experience. It is something that you relax into. You enjoy the journey. You delight in the knowledge. You keep your curiosity alive. You're in awe. You ask questions. You engage. So that is what I would say. If you have the capacity, the time, the energy, the desire to engage, you will be perfect for Expand. If you're one of those people that you may even be fluent in astrology at this point, but you're like, I have barely any time. I want to stay connected to this inner circle. I want to use intention and awareness to make my life better. I want to stay in tune with the cosmic curriculum. I want to be a part of a community, but I don't have a lot of time and resources. Then Grow is for you. And time resources, and that ability to engage. We're all at different points in our life, right? You might be super, super, super busy without very much extra time. So you want the astrology just integrated in ways that you don't have to think about. It just comes to you. And that's where Grow is. Grow is really designed for that. And of course, Expand members get everything Grow members get too. So you can be in Expand, you can tune into mastery classes when you can, and you can still get the bite-sized, easy, digestible, on-the-go astrological information. Okay, I hope that helps. Maureen, I am currently an Inner Circle member. Do I need to rejoin? No, Maureen, you don't need to do anything. You are here with us for as long as you want to be with us. When hopefully that's forever. If you decide that you want to be done with the Inner Circle, that is when there is action that you need to take. So that's when you reach out to us. Although we're also in our capacity to upgrade and downgrade, you'll also be capable of just canceling your membership whenever you want as well. That technology is coming soon. And in the meantime, you would just email us at support@astrologyhub.com and we take care of that for you. No questions asked. Yes, we've announced who the astrologers will be for the mastery classes this year. I am going, Bardo, great question. How much of AI is involved in teachings and readings? 0% for us right now. There is a use case for it that I'll tell you about in just a second that I think will be amazing without taking the human element out. I'm going to show you the slide that I shared earlier of the astrologers and the mastery classes. I want to show you that again. Please hold. I'm going to pull that up. Screen share. Present full screen. Present. Okay, hold on. I'm going to get there because I want you to see it. It's so cool to see the astrologers that we're going to have. Share screen. Here we go. Okay. So I put this up earlier, but it was really quick. So you may have missed it. But these are, sorry, I'm not trying to make you dizzy. Okay. These are the astrologers coming up. So we have Leslie Tagorda, Celeste Brooks, and actually Sheridan we just had. So that one, or we're in. Sheridan's actually the Inner Circle astrologer right this second. Joe Landwehr, Astrologgy, Andrea Michelle Kennedy, Christopher Renstrom, Cassandra Joan Butler, Rick Levine, Mark Lawrenson, Jamie McGee, and Mark Borax. So if you haven't met some of these astrologers, you will. We're going to be bringing them onto the podcast, but it's amazing how many times our members say, wow, I had never heard of X, Y, and Z, but oh my God, they're an incredible astrologer. So what we're looking for when we're looking for teachers are not only great astrologers, but also great teachers. Also great teachers who are very integrated, who are going to bring that embodied experience into your learning so that you can own it. You can own the astrology. You don't have to forever rely on others to interpret it for you. So great astrologers who are also great teachers. These are not always the same thing, who are also very embodied and very, they're accessible in their teaching. Also, that's not always the case. So we really do our best to curate an all-star roster for you. We put so much intention and care into selecting the astrologers, not only selecting them, but then how we sequence them throughout the year. We also are very engaged in helping them choose their mastery class topic, which I'll go to that right now, so that you're getting balanced. I think I'll go to that right now. You're getting balanced learning. You're getting, there's a good balance between what you're learning in a year. So these are some of the upcoming mastery classes. And like Leslie's going to be teaching on Chiron, right? Like literally next, you would get access to that mastery class on April 8th. Secondary progressions are next. Christopher Renstrom coming in with his quincunxes and sextiles. Astrologgy talking about house rulership. Mark Lawrenson navigating midlife transits. So Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus transits. I'm super excited about that one. Mercury from Rick Levine, More Than Just a Trickster. So a deep dive on Mercury and Mercury's cycles. Mark Borax going from cliche to core on the zodiac signs. He's brilliant at that. He just wrote a book on that, and it's brilliant. Jamie talking about void moons and how to work with void moons, both like in everyday reality, but then also in your chart. Yes. Then Andrea Michelle, retrograde planets in your chart. What does that mean? How do you interpret retrograde planets? We have Sheridan Semple. So I guess Sheridan's mastery class is included for people who are joining right now. That's a question mark to my team. Can you put that in the chat? Using diurnal motion for spiritual growth from Joe, and applying Sabian symbols to your chart. So Sabian symbols is a whole thing based on degrees that you can get more and more layer and nuance in your chart. Those are all included in the Expand membership. First of all, we don't even make every mastery class available to the public. Some mastery classes are inner circle exclusives. I would say the majority of our mastery classes are inner circle exclusives. Then when we do make it available on our academy, they're priced at $97, most of them, some of them even more, because some astrologers go above and beyond and they create like a 3-part series on their class. And so those are actually priced around $197. So as a member, you get access to these classes for $37 during this promotional period. It is an incredible deal. And if you're even remotely considering it, jump in, see if you like it, see if it resonates, see if it's for you, and you can cancel at any time if you need to. Okay. All right. I only see iPhone says I'm in, expand. Yay. Okay. Delphine, Sabian symbols are gems to learn from. Yes. And a lot of the astrologers will bring Sabian symbols into even their forecast. So like at the new and the full moon forecast, they'll bring where the new or full moon is falling in the what Sabian symbol it's on. So we get to learn about it a lot throughout the inner circle. But yes, a deep dive on Sabian symbols is amazing. And we haven't had any teacher teach on that yet. Okay, let me see if there's any more questions from you guys. This is fun. Thank you for hanging out. Okay, I had to go so quickly through this before, so I'm not surprised if there's questions. Let's see. Okay, so people are saying that the checkout is slowly loading. I think that's because there's a lot of you hitting the website at the same time. So we're on it. How do we honor this, team? So if someone's like, I joined during the live broadcast, or I wanted to, but I couldn't because of the load speed. Here's the thing. We will honor system this. Get in as soon as you can and keep trying. And we're working on it also. If it doesn't work before the end of this broadcast, let us know by reaching out to support@astrologyhub.com, and we'll help facilitate getting that bonus. Honor system. I trust you. We're all adults. I know you're going to tell the truth. So if you're trying to get in and it's loading and you can't do what you want to do, then we will take care of you. Okay. Bardo asks, how much of AI is involved in teachings and readings? So we are not using AI at all in teaching, and we don't work with any astrologers right now who are using it in their readings, and it's not involved in our reports right now, in our automated reports that we sell. That's outside the membership. However, since we've been doing this for 8 years now, Astrology Hub is almost 9 years old. We have arguably the largest database of digital astrological teachings and information. We did summits with 33 different astrologers that were teaching on different techniques. We have been running the Inner Circle program for 7 years. That is 12 or 13 mastery classes for 7 years. We've been doing all kinds of different courses and everything. So what we are exploring is creating some sort of, feeding the AI chat or whatever, chatbots with the content that we have, so that you guys can go in. You're going to know it's astrology you can trust. I don't know if any of you have used ChatGPT and asked astrology questions. Sometimes it's right on and sometimes it's horrible. And usually it's followed up with astrology is a pseudoscience and it's not proven, So this would be our content from our amazing astrologers. And so you would be able to ask this AI mentor questions, and then it would dig into all of that content that we've created and give you answers based on what our astrologers have been saying through the years. So that's one thing we're exploring, and we're exploring a different, potentially a different level of membership for that. But tell me what you think about that. Is that interesting? Is that not interesting? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay. Joya, I just joined Expand, and it's my first time joining the inner circle. Welcome, Joya. How do I jump in, and where do I need to start first? I'm not sure what to expect. You're so sweet. I totally understand. I have joined memberships before where I like jump in and then I'm like, whoa, like, what do I do? Go to your inbox. There should be a welcome email from us. It has literally step-by-step instructions of how to start. And as an Expand member, one of the things you're going to do right out the gate is take our student level assessment. Maybe it's called Learning Path Quiz. I'm not sure which way it's going to be called for you. But basically what it is, whatever it's called, student assessment or Learning Path Quiz, it is a little assessment you're going to take that's going to then result in exactly what resources are perfect for you to start diving into. Next week, we're going to have our first new moon forecast together. You will get emails about this. You will know exactly where to go. One of the things you do when you first join, you're going to get the calendar. You're going to download all the events onto your calendar in one full swoop so that they're in your calendar. You know what's coming next. But I'll just tell you right now, next week, we're going to have our new moon forecast. You'll get your new moon snapshot from me. The following week, we will be doing our new moon ceremony. And that, again, is where we're going to be doing our treasure mapping. We're going to have Tracy cook there, and we're going to be doing it kind of in a workshop style. So we'll be going into ceremony together to create our treasure maps, our vision boards, if you want to do that. All of this is optional. One of the testimonials that was on the screen earlier talked about how she said, Susan, she said, the inner circle is like a buffet. And you get to pick and choose, like, oh, I love ceremony. I want to do that. Oh, I love community. I want to do that. Ooh, I don't so much like community. I'm going to opt out of that. Or, wow, I just love the mastery classes. And for me, the mastery classes is enough. Whatever, you literally get to choose, like pick your own adventure, but we're going to give you a starting point. You're not going to be flailing out there all by yourself. There's a welcome video from me. We're going to help you get oriented to this program. Okay. Jeannie, is the daily cosmic pulse text message in an audio recording or in a written format? Jeannie, for now, it is in a written format. Someday we might incorporate audio, but for now it is in a written format. Kitty, I just joined Expand. I don't have a lot of time, but I want to expand my knowledge. Is that okay? Yes, Kitty, here's what I would do if I were you. I'm totally in your boat. Like, and especially when I do any program, I'm just like, I want this, but I have to be so intentional with my time to carve out this space for the things that I love to do, right? So what I would do is download the whole schedule and just hone in on the things that you feel will really benefit you right now. So if it's mainly that you want to expand your knowledge and you want to stay really intimately in tune with the cosmic tides, prioritize the new and the full moon forecast. Maybe you just tune into those mastery classes when you can, or tune into the mastery classes that really excite you. They're about 90 minutes. They're not that long. So you can, like maybe one weekend you have some space, you can dive into a mastery class, but prioritize the things that you think will serve you the most. Remember, you also get access to everything Grow gets. So you're going to get those Cosmic Pulse text updates. You're going to get the snapshots from me. So in those months where you're like, I really have no extra bandwidth, you can just tune into the Grow stuff. And then as many new moon forecasts as you can tune into, either live or recorded, as many full moon forecasts. I want to make this comment too. It's a new and full moon forecast, but it covers the entire lunar cycle. So at the new moon, we cover that new moon chart, plus all the important aspects that are happening in the next 2 weeks. At the full moon, we cover the full moon chart, plus all the important aspects that are happening over the next 2 weeks. So you get the entire month in just those two, usually about 1 hour forecasts a month. So that would be 2 hours a month. Like, do you have 2 hours a month? Because that alone would be enough to keep you very because every astrologer, even when they do the new and full moon forecast, they teach. They're not just telling you what's happening and not telling you why they're saying that. You're learning about the archetypes. You're learning about the energies. You're learning why they're interpreting Chiron conjunct the North Node the way they are. They're going into it. And I love how Rick was like, Chiron's last name is not the wounded healer. You're going to pick up those kinds of things as you learn. So think about what we just did in that eclipse panel. All of the expand classes are kind of like that, but not panel style. There's slides, there's explanation, there's charts. You're learning how to interpret this language. So I think it's going to be great for you as long as you have the desire. Like, that's the thing. There are a lot of people who are like, I don't want to learn the language. I am too busy. I'm focused on this. I'm focused on that. I don't even want to learn the language. Just tell me what's going on. I want to be immersed in it. I want to use it to organize my spiritual growth, my transformation. I want to use it to ride the cosmic tides. That's who Grow is for. Like those people, or for those of you who do already know the language, but you just don't have a ton of time. So like I am thinking of a member right now. She could be teaching astrology, but she's in our Grow group because she just wants that bite-sized. She loves the intention setting ceremony. She wants to be engaged in the community, but she doesn't have the space for expand right now. So she's not doing that. Okay. Brenda, I've been with the Inner Circle for 5 years. Do I have all the perks grandmothered in? Yes, Brenda. That's another thing. As we continue to refine, enhance the program, you get enhanced with it. You are expanding with us. So yes, absolutely, Brenda. Patty, do we have a time limit to complete each class, or can we start and stop, review, repeat? Fabulous question, Patty. You do not have a time limit to complete each class. It's only if you're there live, right? But then you get within 24 hours, you get the recording. So yes, you can stop, review, repeat, pause. I know tons of students in the Inner Circle are like taking their notes. They study it, they study it like a class. So you absolutely have that. You also have transcripts. You also have slides. So this is all like, we want to make it, we know people learn in very different ways. So you have access to all these things. You have audio only if you want it on the go. So Chan, so we get to access, no, Chan, you do not get to access past classes when you join Expand. It starts from where you start, and then you get to go from there, except for the bonuses. So we do have bonus mastery classes available for this time period. Can one of my team members give me the names of the bonus classes? We did create an awesome bonus package for you for this promotional period. So you will get access to those immediately. So that's cool. Please explain how to get the bonus Eclipse course. Is that only with a yearly membership? No, Panda. You get that with monthly or yearly, but you have to just join while we're on the call now. Are other courses available free or at a discount? Fantastic question. Panda, yes. So we're going to get the list of the bonuses, and I'm going to read those off for you. So there are some mastery classes that you are going to get as a little welcome package for the Inner Circle. Those will be for free. In the future, if you are like, oh, I want to take this class or that class, and these are past classes that we've already had, you can get those at a 20% discount for Expand members or a 10% discount for Grow members. So yes, you do get special discounts. Also, when you register, you're going to get a chance to access what we call our mastery class vaults, where you will get access to an entire vault of 12 or 13 mastery classes at an extraordinary discount. So when you see that come up in your checkout process, you won't see that again. You're only going to get that offer one time through this checkout process. If you're interested in getting some amazing deal on a bunch of mastery classes that we've had before, make sure that you opt in for that option. Okay, the bonus mastery classes for Expand include a comprehensive foundational beginner starter kit, just in case you're concerned that you're too beginner for this group. This kit gives you everything you need to get started on your journey. You get another mastery class from the fabulous, amazing astrology teacher, Linda Kubota-Bird, called Meet and Befriend Your Inner Committee. This is a great foundational how to read a chart mastery class. Super clear. She kind of goes cookbook style on like start here, then go here, then go here. We're giving you that $97 mastery class as a bonus when you join in this promotional period before April 11th. Also, your hero's journey with the 4 angles taught by Rachel Jaffe, which is another amazing class on interpreting the angles, the angles in the chart. Okay. Also, harnessing harmonics with new and full moons by Clarissa Dolphin. So these are all different levels. So that first one, I said comprehensive foundational beginner starter kit is a level 1 and 2. Meet and Befriend Your Inner Committee with Linda Kubota-Bird is a level 3, although I'm questioning that right now because I do remember that was very accessible. Your hero's journey with the 4 angles is a level 4. And then harnessing harmonics with new and full moons with Clarissa Dolphin is a level 5. But you're going to get access to all these as a bonus when you join the inner circle in your promotional period. That's for Expand. I'd love to see the Grow bonuses because I know we also included some bonuses for Grow. Thanks for all these great questions, you guys. Let's see. Annie, do we get to keep the Eclipse course after joining Expand, even if we decide to end the membership sometime after? I do not have the answer to that clearly. So I need to ask the team if they can weigh in on that. I'm not sure. I mean, we're giving that as a bonus. It's a $297 course. So ideally people aren't joining and then just getting the bonus and then leaving, but I'm not sure how that's working. So thanks for the question, Annie. Debbie, if we do monthly now, can we sign up for annual at the discounted price later since we joined during the promotional time? Fantastic question, Debbie. The answer is yes. And then a lovely comment from Elin. Before the webinar is over, again, I just wanted to say thank you so much. I'm so happy and so grateful for this amazing prize. It just feels so aligned. I see now that this is one of the steps forward that I need to take, becoming the person I'm supposed to become, to live the life I'm supposed to live. Yes, Elon, that's exactly it. All of this information is great, right? But if we just keep it up here, I don't know what good it is. It's about using this information to do exactly what you're saying, Elin, to live the life you came here to live, the promise of your natal chart, the design of your natal chart, the potential of your natal chart, to activate that and to live it, to give yourself permission to fully embody it. Okay. Let's go to Jillian. I'm currently an Expand member and have been for a couple of years. I love it. If I'm in a busy phase of life and couldn't tune in as much as I want and wanted to downgrade to the Grow tier temporarily, will I lose all my modules from the past year since I've been a member? Jillian, I believe that you get to keep those still. That's a good question. I don't have the answer to that handy. One of the things that's happening is we are actually transitioning from the way that we have housed everything. Our Inner Circle Grow members already know. They're already in what we're calling the house. Our Inner Circle Expand members are going to be migrated into the house. And with that, there's some technical changes that have happened. So I'm not totally sure how to answer that question. All right. Shelly, thank you for your passion and heart, Amanda and team. I look forward to getting to know you all. Same here, Shelly. Okay. Can you please explain what is involved in mastery class with Rachel Lang, astrological magic and the moon? Oh, okay. Swati. So Swati is referring to a bonus that the Grow members get. Oh, which is right here. So I'm going to read those. Access to our private community group. No, I'm looking for them. Yeah, there we go. The mastery classes. Okay. So you're going to get a mastery class on what is the lunar cycle. This is for the Grow members and how to work with it for personal growth. You are going to get Rachel Lang's class about moon magic, and what it covers is the many qualities and significators of the moon, practical ways to incorporate moon magic into your life, how to work specifically with your natal moon in magical processes. So that is one of your bonus classes for Inner Circle Grow. And you're going to be learning a lot about magic in the moon just by being in the membership, because it's very core to what we're doing together in harnessing the astrological energies in alignment with the lunar cycle, aligning our awareness, aligning our intention, aligning our inspired action with that lunar cycle metronome that is keeping time. And it's one of the things that we're doing every single month. So you're going to have a very embodied experience of it. And Rachel's class is going to give you some great information as well. Okay. Alice says, I joined, put in info, card number, link comes up. Do we have to use link to pay? I'm not sure, Alice. If any of you are getting stuck like on a technical thing while you're trying to sign up, go to support@astrologyhub.com and we will help you there. So no, you don't have to use the link. No, you don't have to use a link, says Laura. So hopefully that helps. Okay. Let's see. To expand on Jillian's question, I am in Grow now. Would I be able to jump back and forth between Grow and Expand at these locked in prices? Yes, Alicia, you will. We didn't want to penalize you for, changing your mind and either graduating or, having more space in your schedule and wanting to tune into Expand or vice versa. So yes, you will lock in that promotional price. Okay. I'm glad you enjoyed the first live stream, Kelly. Fantastic. Barbara, I joined Inner Circle in October 2023. Does that mean I am already in Expand? Yes, Barbara. The Grow tier was introduced in January. So you are already in Expand. And when does the Eclipse bonus course start? I believe you get instant access to that, Annie. So yeah. And it's a 6-week course. But you can do it at your own pace, right, team? It's not like dripped on a schedule. It's pre-recorded instant access. Yeah. Okay. Lisa, what if you were an original Inner Circle member and during the pandemic lost your membership? How will becoming an Expand member now affect old Inner Circle modules, classes, and such? Lisa, can you send that question to support? I'm not exactly sure what was happening at that time in your membership. So I'm not exactly sure how to answer that question. Okay. Monique, it worked. I'm in Expand. Woohoo. Fantastic. Alice, I can't get back to my join up page after I deleted the link. Will you have all my info? Some of these, as you can see, I'm not the one who does the technical stuff. So yes, Annie, you'll get an email from Astrology Hub right after you join. You should have it within minutes. Okay. Team, can you are there any other questions that you think we should answer while we're here? All of you have been so much fun to hang out with. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your enthusiasm. The Inner Circle is truly the heartbeat of this community. We have so much fun together. It is a very intimate experience for all of us because to me, the study of astrology is intimate by its nature because you are doing a deep dive into your soul, into your incarnational desires, the whole reason why you're here on this planet. Couldn't get any more intimate than that. So it's a beautiful group of people. It's incredibly supportive. The astrologers always come in and inevitably say, wow, this community is so amazing. I've never experienced anything like it because there is mutual support. There is mutual love. There's mutual love and support and cheerleading for each other on our journeys. And then also just mutual love of the universe and a real love of our place in this universe and stepping into a true co-creative relationship with the universe itself. It is a beautiful, incredibly fulfilling place. I absolutely love it. It's something we have been doing for 7 years now, and we still love it. It still continues to feed our souls, like my team, myself, because no matter how deep you go into astrology, there's never an end. It's the study of an ever expanding universe. So it is always expanding. There's always more layers. There's always more nuance. And really, that entire process is so joyful. It's not like burdensome layers. It's like, ooh, what else is going to be revealed? What else is going to be revealed? And really, the process is just coming into you, understanding you, loving you, embracing you, really just stepping into who you are without all of the programs and all of the voices and all of the other narratives that may be in your head. It's really like, who am I at the core, and how can I embrace that, accept that, love that, and live that? That is what it's all about. So yes, astrology is to me, the most like direct and to the point tool that we could access to access that part of ourselves. Of course, there's other tools, but if you're here, my guess is astrology is one of the tools that really resonates for you. So we've had some human design mastery classes. We've had some gene keys mastery classes, some of these other things that are based on astrology. Some astrologers bring in tarot or numerology. So there's all of these other branches off of astrology, but astrology is really that mother language that's going to set you up to explore any other paths like that you might want to go down at some point. Is there anything else? Okay, I'm in. Yay! Chanel, fantastic. Am I saying it right? Andy, you're so cute. Are there ever any internships? We have played around with the idea of starting an internship program. So great question. Keep your eyes on your inbox. It's definitely been something we've come around to several times as like, what an awesome opportunity for someone to come into an online business that's focused on astrology. We have an awesome team. There'd be so much learning. It definitely is something we've considered. So great question. And I'm glad you had the courage to say it. Yes, say those things. Take the risk. Put yourself out there. Feel what it feels like to hit that send button and be like, this was authentic for me. This was an authentic question. Like, as long as it's not those reactive, like, let's just be mean online things. Those never feel good long term. That might feel good in the minute, but it never feels good like an hour or a day later. Okay, you are amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Delphine, thank you for this shared moment. I'm so grateful. I love getting to know you all better. That's one of my favorite things too about the inner circle. I get to engage with you there. I get to be a part of it. So does my team, Laura, Anna, Jessica, let's see, Jamie, the team, Chelsea, they're in there. You're getting to know the Astrology Hub team, this is absolutely a co-creation. We work together. We're bringing this to life. It's a co-creation with the astrologers, with the team, and with all of you, and with, of course, the planets themselves and the universe. So thank you. Gosh, I see that people are still like having some challenges. Like, it seems like sort of technical challenges. So, okay. Great, Chanel. Fantastic. And Nancy, it's my pleasure. I love being here with you. And I will love to get to spend more time with you in the inner circle. Okay, everybody, I think we're going to sign off. And we'll make sure everyone who wants to join now gets the Eclipse bonus. Great. Jacqueline, great feeling here. Super happy to join with your group. Love it. Kelly Walsh, great last name. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Looking forward to learning more about internships someday. Yep. Okay. Wonderful. Love you. Thank you. You are amazing. Thank you for being one of the 11,500 people who is dedicated to riding these waves, these astrological tides for personal growth and transformation, getting fluent in the language of astrology while you do it, and sharing in the journey with this incredible community. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you and take care. We'll see you at the April 8th eclipse ceremony. Hope that you'll join us for that. There's going to be a lot of silence for that. We're going to get quiet. We're going to go in. We're going to get still. So I'm looking forward to that next Monday, April 8th. And any of you that join the inner circle, see you at the new moon forecast happening next week. All right. Take care, everyone. Mwah.